Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. So when I picked up Sniper Blowback, I decided to pick up Warpath Eclipse too. This is a figure that I've been admiring from a distance for quite some time. I don't have the original Eclipse because that figure, while I thought it was cool, didn't really do much for me. But Warpath here, when I saw her, I really just, the whole aesthetic, the deco, those head sculpts. I mean, if you have this figure, you know what drew you to it. If you're watching this video, you know what's drawing you to it, that you want to watch this. And speaking of, while you're watching, why don't you go ahead and leave a like down there if you like our Eclipse right here. And while you're down there, if you're not subscribed, and according to the metrics, 60 to 70% of you aren't, go ahead and hit the subscribe button while you're down there. And don't forget that for $1 a month, I do have a coffee page with some exclusive content there already, where we are trying to build a community of collectors to discuss this wonderful hobby of ours. Now, on to the figure. First off, I love the deco on this box. The colors, the aesthetics, this tribal look to it. I absolutely love that. I love the coloring. This is just very bold, stands out. If you're a mint in box collector and you have this, you're probably facing it out rather than showing the side. You're probably showing off everything that it has to show off right here, including this big window where we can see inside, and we see all of the kibble that comes with her. We see her weapons, melee and ranged. We have the 3 head sculpts, and of course we have the standard Valaverse assortment of hands. Up top, Valaverse, Action Force, more window. On this side, you saw it already. We have this great image of Eclipse right here. Some really good artwork. Didn't realize she had green eyes until just now. On this side, we have Action Force and some more tribal imagery. And then on the back, we have some more beautiful artwork with a profile of her, the moon, tribal work right there, an image of the figure, and of course the thing I am most jealous of is the file cards. Man, I wish G.I.Joe had these. I'm not going to go into the full card, but just as an example, like there's some great information here. Primary specialties, Civil Affairs Officer. Secondary skills, Air Assault, Parachutist, and Pathfinder. That's an awesome combination. And she's a Staff Sergeant. Like, there's so much info on these things that I love them. And we have 2 action points for this. Also, I mentioned this with the Blowback video. I don't know if they do this all the time, but when I ordered directly from the Valaverse website, because both of these I believe are Valaverse exclusives, Valaverse website exclusives, we got 3 additional action points. Thank you for that, Bobby. That with these 3 points, this and Blowback, I actually have enough points that I could get Covert Ops Condor right here. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to pick him up, or maybe I'll wait to see what the mail-away figure is this year. Because this is cool, but I have a feeling there's going to be something really special coming down the line. We'll have to wait and see. Now, on to this. There's really nothing else to talk about. So, without further ado, let's just get this box open and let's take a look at Valaverse Action Force Warpath Eclipse. Okay, so here she is, Warpath Eclipse, out of the box, and putting the tape measure to her. We can see that she is roughly 6 1/4 inches to the top of her head. I knew Valaverse made their female figures bigger. I just really wasn't expecting them to be on par with the standard figure. I really appreciate that, and we'll see that in size comparison at the end. Before we talk about anything else, let's just talk about this war paint right here. This, honestly, I think is the selling point for a lot of people for this figure. It's one thing to deck her out all in dark colors, in like black colors. It's another thing to give her this war paint. This looks awesome. Like I said, I believe this was the selling point for a lot of people. Now, I don't have the standard Eclipse figure, so there's not a whole lot I can do as far as comparison goes to the standard Eclipse figure. But I do believe that this is the standard face sculpt for Eclipse. They just put the war paint on it, and I believe the legs are the same from Eclipse. The armor is the same, but with the sleeveless top, I'm not sure where this comes from, unless this is all new. I also don't know what it looks like underneath, because if you've seen any of my shorts, I really have a hard time getting the armor to button back together, that I kind of don't want to disconnect this. And while we have her turned here, let's just take a look at this tattoo as well, because this is obviously some of the tribal art that was on the box. It's actually ink on her arm. And having this whole sleeve right here, this is awesome. You can see the feathers in it. You can see like the tribal markings in it. You can see knot work down in here. That's just some really good artwork for this tattoo right here. And it continues, I don't know if it continues or if this is a different one, but it continues up to, no, it looks like it is supposed to be a continuation, up here on her shoulder to the nape of her neck, which, that's just awesome. Even little color detail, like the blue braids back in here, the blue clips back in here to hold her braids back, which I didn't realize before I got this, that they had this little bit of braid right here in the hair, that even for the standard face sculpt right here, this is fantastic. There's actually some really good detail. The hair in general right here is a little soft. It's not quite as detailed as it is sometimes on figures, but I don't mind that, because all of the other details, like I said, the braid right here, the clip holding it in, the war paint, the look on her face, like this is a really great, on the standard figure, this is a really great neutral look. With all of this, she just looks really angry. And the skin tone as well, like everything as far as color goes, paint deco goes, I really like this. Even down to, like, you can see there's scuffing in her armor. Like she's been through some stuff. She's taken some hits or she's taken some dives. I like that, the weathering and the scuffing of the armor. The armor is really good with the detail back here, like the spine protector going up the back. And then you got the two pads protecting, like, near the wings. That's really cool. I really like that. Same thing with the paint deco on the boots, where you have the armor plating right here, but you can see down here on the shins and the knee pads where there's some scuffing down to the bare metal. Just weathering, just, you know, from use. I really like that. The pants, there's nothing special about the pants. I'm not saying the pants look bad, it's just that, like, they're pants. But, like, the boots, the knee pads, the armor, the wraps up here that continue onto her hand pieces right here. I think this is really cool, having the forearms wrapped up. Like I said, I wish, is this Killswitch's body? Killswitch's upper torso? I can't remember. I don't have Killswitch either, so I can't say one way or the other. Pandora. The arms came from Pandora. The arms and the hands, I believe, came from Pandora. I think I blocked that out because I'm legitimately upset that I missed out on Pandora. I'm gonna do it. I'm just going to pop this off. Give me a second. I might regret this. Okay, so she looks kind of awesome without the armor on, too. She just has this green fatigue tank top underneath, and we can get a better look at the shoulder tattoo, and that extends much further than I thought it was going to. But this looks really cool. Like, now that you have this tank top on, and if you put the fists on, the closed fists, which we'll see when we look at accessories, and they have these hand wraps, like, it looks like she's ready to go a few rounds in the sparring ring. That looks really cool. And then, like, if you have the standard Eclipse and you take this head off and you put the regular one on without the war paint, that would look really cool. But this, I gotta admit, this looks really cool. Like, you could display the figure like this without the armor. I really like the look of that. But now I'm going to put the armor back on. Well, no, let's go over articulation first before I put the armor back on and see how well that goes. That the head, first of all, will do a full 360 spin. She can look up very well. She can look down very well. A little bit more tilt side to side than some of the other Valaverse figures, Action Force figures that I have. Arms will do a full 360 spin. No butterfly joint in there. But they do come up just a little bit past 90. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows with some really great travel. Wrists pivot. Wrists hinge up and down. She has two sets of trigger hands, and both of them hinge up and down. All of the other ones hinge in and out. Now, if the armor is off, we can see that she does have this ab cut right in here, and this is where she'll get her turn. That can do a full 360. She can crank back. She can crank forward. She can really get some side-to-side going on. She has a ball joint down here at the waist, but because of how it sits in the crotch piece right here, you don't get a whole lot of turn at the waist. The majority of your turn, if not all of it, is going to take place with this ab joint right in here. But the ball joint will go back, so that you can use them all in conjunction. The ball joint will come forward. You can get more going that way. And the ball joint does have some side-to-side rocker. Not a whole lot, but most of your mobility is going to be taking place right here. Coming down to the legs, she has drop-down hips, and then they will come out to 90. They'll come forward very far. They'll go back, set them back in. We have the thigh cut. We have double-jointed knees. Now, I am going to tell you that the top joint on both of my knees nearly broke the figure when I was trying to bend them. I had to put her underwater, under some warm water for a very long time to get the knees to bend like that. So just be aware of that if you get it, that the top part of the double joint of the knee really sticks. She has a boot cut. Ankles will rock back. Ankles will rock forward very well. And she has a forward-facing pin for some rocker. So now let's put the armor back on her and see how that goes. So in another short video that I made, I had mentioned that the new armor fit much better than the old armor did. It clipped in much easier, and I put it on my Steel Brigade figure. This armor did even better than that, and I think it's because that this piece right here, you have the clips on this side, or I'm sorry, you have the pegs on this side, you have the peg holes on this side, and this part is a little stiffer than this part, so that when you push in, you have some resistance. It doesn't exactly like push back in on itself, and I think that really helps. So getting her armor back on was very easy too, so that, you know, you can pose her, you can do stuff with her in that tank top, which I think is really cool. As we just said, out of the box, Eclipse comes with a pair of trigger hands. She comes with a pair of open gripping hands. We have a pair of clenched fists, and with these hand wraps right here, the fists just look so cool. And then some of my favorite of the Valaverse, those weapon cradling hands that, like, there's actually a lot you can do with these. I really like these ones. Something else that she comes with that I have taken off of her up until now is this scarf. And I had taken it off for the beginning of the video because I wanted to see the armor and I wanted to play around with the head articulation. Because she comes with it on out of the packaging. And that does interfere with her head movement just a little bit. Not much, but just a little bit. And it does add some character to her. I think it looks really good. It's kind of like the wrap or the serape that like Stalker wears. I think this looks really cool. Something else that I like about it, and we're going to take a look at the other head sculpts now, because I think we've seen this one plenty through the video so far. Like this face looks great. It's not photo real printing, but the eyes staring out at you from beneath this black war paint looks all kinds of intimidating. But here's where we really see it, that we pop the head off, okay, and then we take the scarf off, and then the other head sculpt that we have is her with the scarf up, that you kind of just got to twist it on there. It doesn't really pop on. It fits very well, but you don't get a real good pop, at least not yet. But look at that. That's like infiltration mode right there. I really like that. And it just like the eyes staring out from there. That just looks so cool. That looks so cool. I really like that. Now, there's not a whole lot of movement with the head when she has this on, because it comes down in the back and it comes down in the front, and it really does interfere with head articulation. So you'll get some turn out of it. Not nearly the dynamic range that you get when she's not wearing it, but I mean, come on, that just looks really cool. And once again, if you have the standard Eclipse, I'm pretty sure she has a headpiece like this and the standard packaging too. But it's kind of like a plaid or something, I think, and she has just the skin tone underneath, whereas this, we know that war paint is under there. And, oh man, look at that profile. That, with the wrap hanging here, a little bit of a brim. That looks so cool. So cool! And the final head sculpt that we get, of course, the one that everybody's been waiting to see, is her war cry. And the war paint and this face sculpt, I'm pretty sure, were the big selling points for a lot of people. just this open mouth battle cry. I'm gonna kill you. You can't stop me. This looks great. Look how white the teeth are, matching the white of the eyes. The open jaw, everything just looks so good. And once again, they still have the braid and they put the clip in here as well. So I'm pretty sure this is the same hairpiece. It's just the face sculpt is different. That looks awesome. That looks so awesome. Good job, Valaverse. Good job. Going through her accessories, we're going to start small and work our way up. Here we have her sidearm. Once again, I'm not entirely sure what this is. I keep thinking it's a SIG. I'm not entirely sure. It's definitely not it's not a 1911. It's not a Beretta. I'm guessing this is a SIG. Someone tell me if I'm wrong, because I've been calling these things SIGs since they first came out. I don't know if that's right or not, but it is a great looking sculpt. I like how the front is how it's two-toned right here, and the front is painted off with this sort of like gunmetal gray, this silvering right here, and that fits in her holster very well. That's a nice tight fit right there. Another smaller accessory that she has is this blade, this knife, and I like the look of it. I like the curve of it. I like the sculpt of it. I like the look of the handle. You can see some texturing in the handle. You can even see the bolts, the screw holes holding it together. And my favorite part, the blade is silvered, so it's not just a piece of black. You have some silvering for the blade right there. I really appreciate when companies do that. And she does have a sheath at the back of her belt right here that fits in. Once again, that is a very nice tight fit in there. Oh, now before we get to her assault rifle, I want to draw attention to that she has these two clips right here in the front of her armor. And I'll tell you why that's important in a moment. But here is her assault rifle, that it also comes with a magazine, not clips, magazines. It also comes with a magazine, and that pops in. So we've seen this rifle before, but I really like this paint job, this Warpath paint job with the blacks and the grays. I think that looks really good. It looks really slick. And that just fits into her trigger hand very well. At first I thought her hands might be too small, but it fits very well in there. She has a nice tight grip. I love the paint deco that they give, that Valaverse gives to their weapons, right down to the silvering of the action right there. Okay. And then she has this blade right here, this sickle, which we've seen in a lot of the promo shots, and this just looks sick. This is like a big brother to that knife that she has, that it has the same curve. It's molded in black. We have not so much texturing on the handle, but you can see there's like design on the handle, and we also have the bolt holes, the screw holes that hold it together. And we have the silver paint for the blade. Unfortunately, there's no place on her armor that this will fit. I almost wish we would have gotten some kind of like back hanger that like we could have like tucked it in back here or hung it back here or something, just so that she could carry it on her without having to have it in her hand. But there we go. There she is with all of her gear. Doesn't come with a backpack. I'm kind of surprised, but I don't think the original Eclipse comes with a backpack either. Oh, and of course all the weapons are bored out for Valaverse blast effects. There we go. That looks really cool. I'm glad I caved and finally bought it, because I've been going back and forth on her like since she first came out, and I'm really glad I caved and I picked her up. So this is why I wanted to draw attention to the magazines that were tucked into her armor, into the pockets in the front of her armor, because we actually get 6 magazines with Eclipse, and I'm not entirely sure why. They are 2 different designs, though. That we have the standard magazine right here, that's sort of just, ribbed up and down, but then we also have this magazine, which I think is a newer design for theirs, where you can see there's like some sort of grip texturing on there or something. She comes with the standard ones in her armor, but you can see that even the alternate set fits into the assault rifle very well and actually looks pretty good in there. So they give you choices, that's for sure. And also, if you should happen to lose any of your magazines, at least you know you have a backup. I prefer these ones, but it's just nice to like have a choice, and I think that was a really cool addition for this figure. And of course, Eclipse comes with her figure stand, the Action Force logo embedded in diamond plate. It has the 4 pegs and the slot to hold her file card. And now for size comparison, here she is beside fellow Action Force figures Desert Rat and the BotCon exclusive Locust Warrior. I think I've been calling him Mantis Warrior, but I think it's actually Locust. And now here she is beside Hasbro G.I.Joe Classified Series Night Force Wolf Spider and Night Force Shooter. You can really see the difference between like the Valaverse female figures and the Hasbro female figures. Here she is beside Hasbro Marvel Legends Genevieve and Psylocke from the Nimrod 3-pack. Here she is beside Jazzware's Spartan Collection Master Chief, and I believe this is a Mark IV Spartan. Here she is between a pair of McFarlane Toys Warhammer 40k Space Marines. And finally, here she is between NECA Toys Dungeons & Dragons, Warduke, and Grimsword. So not being a big Action Force collector, I am loving this figure way more than I thought I was going to. She was fun to play around with, she was fun to pose, she comes with some great accessories, namely like those head sculpts. I love the tattoo, I love the design of her armor, the coloring of her. All of her accessories are just spot on, right down to that wicked sickle. Everything about her I absolutely love. I've really hit the jackpot with like these last 2 Action Force figures that I've picked up from them, being Blowback, Sniper Deluxe Blowback, and now Warpath Eclipse. 2 big wins in my book that I normally don't tell you to go out and get something, but if you don't have either one of these yet and you're into military action figures, you gotta get these 2. Now, not having a lot of Action Force, that sort of leaves the question of where do I put Eclipse, and honestly, I think I'm going to put her in with my Night Force. I think with the paint deco on the armor, the head sculpts, the war paint, the coloring of her, the wrap that she comes with, the head wrap that she comes with, I think she's going to fit in really well with my Night Force, and that's kind of awesome. The paint deco of her 2 face sculpts with the war paint on is savage. I love it. She looks fantastic. She looks intimidating. She'll have presence on the shelf. She'll have presence among any of the figures that you put her with, that you'll be looking at the shelf, you'll be panning across, and you'll just see those white, deadly eyes staring out at you from behind the black war paint, and you'll just go, ooh, what's this? And like people will just go to that just to see what's up with Eclipse. I wasn't a fan of I shouldn't say I wasn't a fan of. I didn't get the first one because while I thought it looked good, it wasn't anything that like really jumped out at me. But when I saw this one, like I said, I was going back and forth. Do I want to get her? Should I get her? Do I not want to get her? I am so glad I caved. I am so glad I got her. I am so glad she's part of the collection now. I think Valaverse did a great job on this one. My only hang-up, like I said, was that the top joints on the knees were really stiff when I first got her, but soaking her in some, like, really hot water loosened that up. A full-sized female buck. I knew that Valaverse made their female figures bigger than most toy companies do. I didn't realize that they were pretty much on par with the male figures. I love that. I appreciate that. Hasbro, please, please, please take a page from this. Please, I really want Scarlet to basically have the same proportions as Eclipse here. From top to bottom, I think this is a really great figure. I'm really glad I have it in my collection. Kind of kicking myself for not getting it sooner, but hey, at least it didn't sell out and I missed out on it. Tell me what you think of her. Tell me if you got Warpath. I'm willing to bet that a lot of Action Force collectors, if not all of the Action Force collectors, got Warpath here. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.